All right. So, as you can tell by the title, we are going to be talking about Zachary Galloway, aka Zach Galloway, aka Zach Elam. He is a massive TikToker, 1.4 million followers, and he'd basically disappeared for a long, long time, right? And I was like, what the hell's going on? I really enjoyed his content. He talked about like being in prison and, being like an ex drug addict and that kind of stuff, right? And I was like, you know what? I kind of relate with like the drug addict side of things, right? I've never been to prison myself, but I was definitely on the fast track to, going to prison. So I was like, I enjoyed this content, whatever. And then some crazy videos started popping up, which looked really, really bad. Honestly, it was starting to look pretty sad. Still definitely does look sad. And he hadn't posted for quite some time. He posted on this month on the 5th, so about 20 days ago. And I was like, oh man, the poor guy died because he's looking really, really rugged. Take a look at some of these TikToks with me. So in this one, it says, you look so much healthier. And he goes on to talk about some surgeries that he went through. And yeah, I'll play this one quickly for you and then another one after.
Can we talk about this? Ever since I stopped smoking, I've been looking considerably healthier. I mean, even though this has been the past couple weeks for me, just various stages of going through the stomach surgery and everything. I don't know if you guys were up to date on that, but this was all on my fiance's TikTok. But even though I'm still recovering from surgery, I feel like I look healthier than when I was smoking. So thank you for pointing that out. I appreciate that.
So as you can tell, he looks pretty good there, despite the surgery and stuff. And surgery can be really, really tough, especially, the recovery period and that kind of stuff. But I'm going to show you some more videos here in a minute.
I've got a lot of mental health issues that I deal with. I think the hardest part about being me was figuring out that the drugs weren't just the problem. I stopped doing drugs and I still had so many fucking issues, man. And I have these episodes where like I can't do anything. I don't talk to people. I stay inside. I can't do anything. It's almost just like a fear of life that it just hits me sometimes and it paralyzes me.
So obviously, as you can tell by that video, he's talking about doing drugs and stuff like that. And that kind of leads into the next couple videos that I'm going to show you off of his TikTok page as well, because I think it ties in pretty well. And honestly, having the mental health problems and like drug stuff is basically hand in hand, right? Like those two things are, so closely related that, it's sad. So this appears to be the start of what looks like maybe a relapse, and we're going to listen to his story here and what he says. And you can take a look at his knuckles. Look at that there. And he's got a bruise up here as well. Take a listen to his story. There's a lot more stories to listen to as we go as well.
I am sincerely tired of being the one white boy on the block. Because no matter where I go, someone seems to feel that they have the privilege to just like rob me or intimidate me wherever I go. And before you say some bullshit about being racist, I'm not talking about black people. I'm just talking about shitty people here. Some guy last night tried to steal all my weed from me. Now, he got a couple good hits in, so it was a decent fight. So the lesson here is, if you're walking around at night and you see a white boy and you say, hey, that's an easy target, I could probably rob him of something, don't do that. Don't do that. Wrong fucking white boy.
So, like, and I'm not talking about like a relapse on weed or whatever, right? Like, when you come off hard drugs, like chemicals, like what he was doing and stuff, it's, it's one of those things. And like, weed is legal in Canada, so I don't see it as a bad thing, right? Like, if he was drinking booze, different story, right? You probably shouldn't be drinking if you're an addict, right? Just my opinion. That's something that I follow, or I try to, anyways, because when I drink, problems happen, drugs happen. It's a problem, right? I think booze is a lot more in line with like drug addiction than weed is necessarily. I know you can be addicted to weed, but I think it's a lesser of two evils, right? But this story is a little bit odd to me, just a little bit odd. So let's continue on to the next story, and you guys might see a pattern here. All right, so for the next story that I'm about to play for you, not this one here. He talks about his mother getting cancer, and yeah, I guess let's roll that one.
My ma got cancer. For those of you confused, I did have lesbian parents, and one got murdered when I was a kid, so there's that. Yeah, well,
I just want to mention that you should take a look at his eyes while he talks as well during these stories to potentially get the full picture.
I'm trying to keep it together, but and there's no way I can afford to just buy a plane ticket to California. God, I love you, Mom. There's so much I want to say to you, and I want to say it to you in person, but we wasted years of fighting, and I'd like to put an end to that.
All right, so there is the story. So first the fight, mom gets cancer, right? And the first thing that I want, like, I don't want to, come off as like some sort of insensitive, jerk or whatever. But I have read all the way into this story, and I have a conclusion that I think, other people have been drawing for a while now as well. So the next piece to this odd puzzle is him talking about PayPal and GoFundMe and Venmo and stuff. So take a listen to what he has to say about accepting money.
I've considered starting a GoFundMe to have me visit my mom, while she has cancer. But the reality is, you guys have supported me so much. You literally bought me the equipment that I use for my podcast. You paid my fines and kept me out of jail. And as much as I hate to beg, and as demeaning as it is, if you're someone who's able to help, my PayPal and my Venmo is in my bio. And I would really like to see my mom again. I really would.
All right. As you can see there, he wants to see his mom. He says, here's how you can send me money, PayPal, Venmo, whatever. He's not making a GoFundMe. And this next video that I'm going to show you, uh, it just begins to look sad because he's getting money now, right? A lot of people have seen this, almost 10,000 likes on this. People are commenting. I said, how much is the plane ticket? People are trying to send a bunch of money. It's tough because I went through my mom getting cancer and, getting sick and dying and that all that kind of stuff, and we had to ask for money as well. We were in a similar situation like that. We had to ask for money, that kind of stuff, right? Because it's not cheap to die, first of all, and it's not cheap for treatment, especially in the US, to go see your mom, that kind of stuff, right? So I have a hard time saying this, but I don't think he's telling the truth in this situation. And I think his partner, his husband or girlfriend or fiance or whatever, I'm not totally sure on the pronouns completely, but I think it's a boyfriend or a fiance. I don't know, whatever. Not important. But they were like, Zach is currently on antidepressants that does cause slurred speech and some other symptoms. Please be mindful, right? And like Zach also says that he's got 3 jobs and this kind of stuff. It's like you have 3 jobs and no money, but you're making $400 to $700 on Patreon, plus donations, plus all of this. Where's your money going? This doesn't look like antidepressants to me, at least none that I've seen. I'm not a doctor. I'm absolutely ignorant to these, side effects of certain antidepressants and stuff. Like, if you're popping Xans and stuff, you look like this. If you're doing heroin, you look like this. If you're doing fentanyl, you look like this. I have looked like this many a times. Pop in too many mollies, you look like this, right? I have been in this situation many a times, and to me, again, not a professional opinion, just an ex-junkie opinion, looks like drugs, right? Asking for money for things that, you know, the stories just continue to pile up, right? First it's, tickets, then it's, mom's dying of cancer, and then it's, the state is suing me, and then it's, buy me this, buy me that. And yeah, I joke about, you guys sending me money. By the way, there's like a members button right here. Go ahead and click that. Give me like $1 to $8. But no, on like a real note, right? This right here reminds me a lot of being a junkie, right? And it's not helpful really to be like, "Oh yeah, look at the junkie, look at the junkie." But at the same time, he has said for people to hold him accountable, and some of the comments in his thing are definitely not holding him accountable. And this looks like a relapse to me, and it looks like it's just going to continue to get worse cuz somebody like this is making money, right? He gets paid views. He should get paid views on TikTok as well, right? And if he reached out to sponsors, he could have money. So there's a lot of ways to make money. There's a lot of money that seems to be just disappearing, and it's really tough. Lying is not off the top, like it's one of like the least things that you care about doing, right? Like you will lie to everybody just because, right? And that's what I think is what's going on here, right? And people are, offering more GoFundMe. He's ran like 2 or 3 GoFundMe's before as well, plus accepting donations through PayPal and stuff. So take a listen to what happened to the money that was supposed to go for his wedding.
I would love to be able to use the wedding fund to go see my mom. But if you've been paying attention, I just got sued. Which means I don't have the money to go see my mom. So all in all, it's been a pretty bad couple weeks. Yeah, pretty bad couple weeks.
And man, I really do want to be wrong about this situation, right? Like, relapse sucks. It does, right? And I try to be open as possible, right? Not too long ago, 3, 4 weeks, maybe, I relapsed as well. I did drugs and I drank. And, about a month before that, I did drugs and I drank. And, you know, luckily I didn't fall back into it as hard as this. But this right here reminds me so much of how I behaved when I was on drugs, how I acted when I was doing the drinking all the time and the drugs and the chemicals and that kind of stuff, right? Like this is not a weed high. This is not a weed scenario, right? And people in his comments are constantly asking him, I'll send you plane tickets. I'll buy you tickets. I'll buy you this. I'll buy you that. Like I won't send you the money, but here's a plane ticket. But he never seems to take the plane ticket and just continues to post sad stories about where the money is gone or what happened to the money and all of that kind of stuff, right? This situation here is awful, and it seems like a lot of bullshit in my opinion. If you're uncertain by now, maybe you're like, those situations are possible, this could happen. This video right here should solidify the whole thing for you.
If you guys are wondering while I'm biking around downtown Norfolk, it's because I'm looking for a 4th job. Because the plane tickets that we reserved to go to California to see my mother require me to have an ID. And if you guys remember, my car was stolen and my ID was in my car. They took $2,000 and they're not giving it back. That was like everything. And that was all you guys. That was all you guys supporting me, so. Anyway, how's your day going? If you get
Man, his car stolen, mom cancer, these tickets, those tickets, that ticket, being sued. That's a lot of money, man. That is a lot of money to just disappear. The wedding fund, the GoFundMe's. Like, what is happening, right? If this doesn't solidify it right now for you, then I don't know what will. But his comments are seeing this as well. At this point, no one's wondering. We all know. Yeah, this is giving me how my mother was vibes. Sorry I offered to buy the tickets directly multiple times with no response. I don't buy it anymore. And that's true. I've seen this girl comment this multiple times. I've been avoiding it for a month now, but as an addict myself, I can tell you he's fooling y'all again to get more money. That's it. I'm a recovering addict and he's got the people he loves blinded. I'm really rooting for Zach, but still, right? At this point, he's got y'all fooled. If you still believe he's not an addict, I don't know what will prove it, because this video right here basically solidifies it. He lost $2,000, can't fly to California. He's lost so much money. Where's all this money gone, right? Let's continue with this stories though. This next story is just more, man. Just so much more.
So a lot of you guys have been worried about me, asking where I've been, that sort of thing. Don't worry, I haven't relapsed, nothing like that. But I am homeless now. Yeah. I got into an altercation in the apartment building that I was living in, and that violated the rules and guidelines. It's a long story, but I am homeless out here
It's a long
currently
story.
and trying to find some place to be. So, yeah. There's that. Been trying to look up if it's illegal to do if it's illegal to kick someone out like that, because I just paid rent. But anyway, don't worry about me. I'm alive. I'll be doing more content. If you pray, please keep me in your prayers, because it is so.
If you pray that he is not, you know, stuck like this forever, because, you know, addiction, man, it will take your life. It will ruin your life. It will do everything in its power to make every single person in your life hate you, and it will work. And then you will end up in this situation right here. Use this poor gentleman as a great example why you should never touch any substances if you can help it. Don't touch nicotine. Don't touch alcohol. Don't touch drugs. And don't touch weed. Don't touch the substances, man. Especially if you got mental health problems. You will end up like this. And it's very, very hard to get off. This one right here is day 2 of him being homeless. The car was stolen. He's back in the car now. I haven't seen an update video between, you know, when it was stolen and this one, saying like, oh yeah, I got my car back. I don't know, maybe if he was just absolutely mind blasted off like the dope and just forgot that he was lying, or, you know, if his car was actually stolen or what. But like, come on, man. It's really beyond sad at this point.
Morning, guys. It's day 2 of Zach being homeless, for those of you who are keeping count. Slept in the car last night for about an hour. It's rough. I never realized when you're homeless, it's like illegal for you to sleep. Everywhere I went, a cop would.
It's actually true, right? Basically, anywhere you go when you're like homeless and you're trying to sleep, they'll just kick you out. They do not care, right? Obviously, because you're a burden on like the rich people and, you know, the people who have money, right? You're a burden and you probably smell bad or whatever. That's actually true. That's true. There was many a times where I slept in the mall and they wake you up, and, you know, you're sleeping outside, they kick you out, whatever. It happens, you know, because it's a crime to be homeless.
Wake me up and tell me to move. But anyway, that's my morning. How's your morning going?
Look at those eyes, man. I get it. He's overtired. But this is not the face of somebody who's sober, especially considering that very first video I showed you guys. Look at how good he looked, right? He looked delicious and beautiful and fruitful, right? He looked like a youthful young man ready to start his day. He just quit cigarettes and then boom, flipped the switch 180 degrees straight into the toilet. I feel bad for the guy, man. So he's finally made a response video. That last video was 20 days ago, right? He looks brutal, says he's homeless, all of this kind of stuff. Now he's got a video posted. He actually posted this 1 hour ago from the time of recording this, And I was doing all this research and collecting all this, stuff before this video was posted. So this is new, and I haven't actually seen it myself yet. There is copywritten music, so I will just read it. I've missed you all so much. I'm home, out of the ICU, and I'm doing better. I know a few of you thought I died, which wouldn't be a surprise because he's on drugs, right? Congrats, you were right, but I was revived. Interesting story. Happens on drugs. I had my dentures lost while I was intubated, and times are tough, but as always, I will be back. When he needs more money from us. Us, not really. I spent like $4, but I'll get into that. Stay safe out there, beloved. I think that's the end. Yeah, that's the end. Right? So, hardly any content. We don't get to see him. We don't know what he looks like. We don't know what's actually going on. He lost his dentures. He's probably going to ask for money for the dentures or something else went wrong. He wants us to pay the medical bills, whatever. So, I mean, this is tough, man. He is can't say 100% on drugs. But you can never be 100% list. You know the guy and you see him, token up on the pipe, right? But I mean, the signs are there. The possibility is there. Mental health issues, ex-addict, this hairline apparently, right? Like the signs are there. The struggles have been there before, right? It's entirely possible, and that's really the sad reality, and that's probably the case. I mean, 70% sure, in my opinion. And I saw on his Patreon that he had updated everybody on Patreon a few times throughout this whole situation. August 22nd was his most recent update on Patreon, which was before, again, I had saw that video which he had posted on TikTok. I checked his YouTube. I checked that schizophrenic guy, Josh, I think his name is. I checked their podcast together. I checked a bunch of the other stuff that they've got going on. And I was like, well, what the hell? Where's Zach been? There's no content. There's nothing. And I checked the Patreon, and there's been some updates. This one is really, really long. You might want to play this on 2 times speed or 1.5 times. I had a headache all day. That sort of sharp, painful headache that stops you dead in your tracks. Recently, I had managed to make a few new friends and was spending time at their house. Now, while I don't recall much, I do remember my friend's wife noticing me, rubbing my head on occasion. She politely asked me if something was wrong. I admitted that I had been dealing with a bad headache that day, but assured her I was okay. She looked at me sympathetically and said I didn't look like I was okay, and then she had left and came back with a few pills. Now I know I have to stay away from opiates, so I did ask her if they were addictive or opiate based. She said they were not, as she did not care for how drowsy opiates made her feel. She did not care for how opiates made her feel. So I made the last choice I was going to make on this earth. I took unknown pills that were not prescribed to me. Little did I realize that whatever those pills were, in about 15 minutes they were going to interact with the medication I had taken for my anxiety, and in about 20 minutes I would be dead. Looking back on the situation, I realize now how stupid, irresponsible this was, and I've suffered the consequences of it. As I sit here writing this with broken ribs from the CPR that was given to me, I can't pinpoint when it happened. I saw no light and heard no voice calling me anywhere, but in time it takes you to blink. I wasn't here anymore. I was somewhere else. I was somewhere different. I didn't feel panic or pain or sadness. In fact, I felt warmth, that sort of feeling when you wake up on a cold morning next to someone you love. I mean, come on, Zach, man. Like, literally anybody with half a brain knows, dude. Like, you brought up opiates to clear your backstory right away first, before anything else, right? You had to clear up that it wasn't opiate based, right? Oh, I took unknown pills, blah, 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 blah. They weren't opiates, right? That's the first thing you go to. I mean, that's suspicious as hell. Let's continue with this story, though. And now that I think about it, I didn't really recall much about life. I was too focused on who was there to greet me. That was my mom. I say it was my mom, but I can't tell you that it looked like her. I can't really explain what anything looked like. I just recognized her somehow. And just like a 9-year-old boy I was when she was killed, I fell into her and she held me in a strange way. It was one of the most happiest moments of my life. I know we talked. I distinctly remember feeling her running her hands through my hair. Others were there as well, but I feel like I'd have time to go get them. But in the middle of my reunion, suddenly a new feeling was introduced, a foreign feeling, pain. My chest hurt so badly that I felt I was going to cry, and the only words that I can remember hearing is my mother's voice was the simple direction, "Go back, it's not time yet." I remember trying to object, but the pain was so great that all I could do was hold on as long as I could. I actively fought to remain wherever I was, but as most stories go, I wasn't strong enough and something reached within me and violently pulled me back, away from peace, away from rest. Suddenly life was rekindled. I felt a tube being ripped from my throat. I was in and out of consciousness, incoherent but alive. It wasn't until later that day that I was fully able to open my eyes and experience the confusion and pain of the ICU. A very confused doctor standing above me explained that I had been dead and that I had been placed on a ventilator. They had been seeking legal permission to pull the plug, expecting that if I was ever to regain consciousness that I would effectively be a vegetable, very little brain function. Please hold your jokes. So that's where I'm at right now. I had my dentures knocked out, lost during the intubation process, so I'm literally without teeth at the moment. If anyone knows of any work from home jobs that are available, I'd be grateful if you would let me know so I can return to TikTok ASAP. Things are stressful and we're in a tough spot, but I know that we will get through it, and I can't explain how much to you guys extent how much you all mean to me. I'll be posting a lot more on here and doing more writing in the meantime. Stay safe out there, beloved. Zach. First of all, reading is very difficult for me. Okay, so with that out of the way, man, this whole situation, dude, is shady, sketchy, sad, and tough. And him, 111 patrons, right, at $4 a piece, right? That's $444, or at $7 a piece, $777. Lucky number. Cha-ching! Zach is cashing in on the drug train, my boys. But that's what it looks like. It looks like he's on drugs again, man. And like I said in the very beginning, I liked his content. I liked, what he talked about. I liked his flashbacks, his delivery, his whole style and everything was so fantastic. And now all of it is just begging for money, and there's always a new problem. There's always something new that comes up. And then he's selling this story on his Patreon for $4 is what I paid. $4.20 Canadian, right? Patreon takes their 10% cut or 11% at the highest tier or whatever it is. But still, like, it's just sad, right? This poor dude, addiction is tough, man. It really is. This poor dude is probably slipping back into addiction. One hard thing comes up, and it is so easy to just be like, hey, man, what is the point anymore? I am constantly fighting that still, right? Like, I walk past a liquor store and I'm like, why am I staying sober for? What do I have to stay sober for? I'm like, there's nothing to stay sober for, nothing to really keep me grounded, right? I don't care, right? Before it was my ex-girlfriend. I was like, if I don't stay sober, I'm gonna lose this girl, right? I'm gonna lose her, blah 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 blah. But it's still, that wasn't enough because I wasn't, strong enough. I wasn't capable of holding on, right? And one small thing happens, right? Me and her got into a fight. One small thing. It wasn't even a big fight. I don't even remember what it was. It was so insignificant, right? And the first thing I do is ran to the bottle. I was like, boom, get drunk as, whatever. It's tough. But this situation seems a lot like drugs and alcohol to me, man. And I hope he can get the help he needs. I hope he can realize that this is not the answer. And, this has been, where is Zach Galloway? And I think we all know where he is. Lost on a booze cruise or on an opiate binge or something. It's really sad. But that's it for this video. It's been quite a long one. Thank you for watching all the way. That's my input, my opinion, my breakdown. If you do want to give me money, there is the join button again. I would appreciate it, but again, I don't need your money, so keep it if you want to. But I appreciate you watching. Maybe you could check out my gaming channel as well.